Now, cycling 15 miles through the Berkshire countryside sounds pretty exhausting by anyone's standards, even more so if you are an amputee. Ray Edwards and Barry Perrin have both lost limbs, but they're not going to let that stop them from taking part in next Sunday's Woking and Bikeathon. And they're here to tell me their stories this afternoon. Hi, guys.
Hello, good afternoon.
How you doing?
Lovely to see you again, Ray.
And
I know
you, Sarah.
You've been on the show before. We've heard your story, but I'm going to get you to tell it again in a second.
Okay.
Barry, you're new to this lark.
Yes, I
fully
guess I am.
but I'd love to hear a little bit more about you. So tell me the context in which you became an amputee.
Well, mine was all brought on by an old football injury probably 40 years ago when I busted my ankle twice within 16 weeks. I carried on playing football till I was 46, and then it was just so painful, so I quit. Then I went out to live in America for a while, came back here after September the 11th because I lost my job out there through it, and I took a job with the AA, and I really had trouble getting in and out of the vehicle. The ankle's playing up, so I went to see my consultant, and they done 2 operations, which both failed. And then I had to go for a leg reconstruction at another hospital. And probably about 22 operations later.
22?
Yeah, I think it was 22 or 23. They decided to take my leg off, simply because of the arthritis was that bad.
Gosh. And
So I was introduced to Ray whilst I was in Roehampton, and I thought, well, if Ray can get over this with all 4 limbs, and I'm sure I can get over it with my one.
so going back to, that period of the operations, was there at any stage in that process a moment when you thought you could lose your leg, or did it come as a complete bolt out of the blue when they told you?
No, I was aware of the fact that I could lose my leg probably after the second operation, really, where it all went wrong, and it went wrong. There's nothing I could do about it or anybody else.
But you seem very level-headed and very philosophical about it now. Was there a period when you didn't feel like that? Is that something that's developed over time?
Very much so. I felt really bad at one time. I didn't really know much about it, but I was just drugged up with morphine, and but I felt low at the time. When I was going through all the stages of the Lizaroff frame that I had on my leg. And then when they told me I had to lose my leg, I had a bit of time to think about it, 4 months, in fact, to think about it. Decided to go out to Roehampton and look around, and I met Ray and a few other people there, and the man is just a total inspiration.
Some would say that the idea of coming to grips with the fact that you're going to lose one of your limbs for 4 months is almost agonising. Was it not? Would it not have been better to have been told one day and then it go the next? You had 4 months to mull this over in your mind.
I was just going through a lot. Excuse me, lots of things that. Was it better to have it, or was it better to have it taken off? And it was a big decision, but after 4 months, I could see that I really didn't have an option.
Can you remember how it felt after the operation?
The day after, I didn't feel nothing. I was as high as a kite.
Can you remember that the moment that it did become a little clearer, though, in how you felt?
Yeah, I felt down. I felt a little bit down. And then I had an infection in the leg. I got quite depressed because of that, but I gradually got over that. I've always got a smile on my face, apart from now.
Now I'm asking you to relive it all.
Yeah, that's right. No, I'm fine. I've always got a smile on my face. I love helping people, along as Ray does too. Raising funds to help amputees across the country.
And how long do you think it took you to come to terms with it, though, and become a bit more philosophical about what's happened?
Probably 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
You know, and I mean, I met Ray whilst I was in Roehampton. Mr. The Limbless Association. The meerkat.
I mean, Ray, you two are, some of the brightest people I've had on this show in terms of being very bubbly, very full of fun. The last time you came in here, you were laughing and joking, which is just incredible, bearing in mind what you've gone through. I mean, most of us will never, ever go through anything like that. And we'll hear more of your story and remind ourselves of what happened to you in a moment or two. But where do you get that kind of ability to just shine through it all?
I don't know. I think it's an inner strength, really. I've always been a tough character and I've always been strong. Barry's right. When you get those daunting times coming to you and the frustration is that you thinking you've lost a limb, it's very much a bereavement and you are closely losing your mind and literally tearing yourself apart of what's going to be the future. But some people, and I think Barry's the same, there must be the inner strength to keep you going. And when you've gone over that bridge of despair and you reach the end and you think, well, I can help other people. And I think it's giving back to society something very special. And you feel special yourself. And I don't feel we're disabled. I think we're just strong characters. We've got these sort of new limbs. We're like action men, really. And I think you can give more, and we're very lucky to be alive.
But, you obviously deal with people who have gone through similar experiences to yourselves. There must be some people who go the other way to you, right?
Yeah, it's the old adage, isn't it? Like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So any human being that becomes an amputee, there's the specialist that will put the limb on and will say you can walk or do what you want, but it's the user, the end user, that's going to do it. And if they quite honestly don't want to do it, they won't, will they? Because you can repair the body, but you can't repair the mind. And that's another ball game.
Yeah, of course. Ray, I was saying before that we've met you before, but just remind us of your story, because we've heard Barry's and we've heard about, obviously, the agony of losing his leg. For you, this was fourfold, wasn't it?
It was quite a story, really. And I've always said, if you look in a crystal ball at my story, you'd want to close the door quickly.
Or make it into a film.
Well, that'd be nice. Yeah, we hope so, one day. But I mean, really, going back, I was born a healthy young chap, really. But at the age of 27, I got Hodgkin's disease. And that meant in those days they removed the spleen and gave you chemotherapy and radiotherapy, form of cancer. And, it was kind of a bad word, cancer, in those days, and pigeonhole people with cancer, and you're frightened. But God willing, I got better. But my worry was that I was always a builder and I was a working director, so basically always on site. And they said, if you lose your spleen, be careful, your immunity system has gone. So that was in 1981. Then in 1987, I was on a contract in Addleston and I cut my hand badly and poison got in the body. Now, the heart was pumping the poison thinking, well, where's the spleen? And as there was no spleen, they had to pump it to the extremities of the body. And all four limbs were going pretty bad, sent into hospital. And they found that I was having renal problems as well as septicemia was caused. And Friday the 13th, they had to amputate my arms and my legs. So, and then I had heart trouble, and then basically the whole situation that time was horrific. It was like being in a war zone, really. And how I came out of that, I'll never know. And then, of course, then 2005, I had a heart attack. And I always think I've got a cat's life. Now I've lost 3 of them, and I've got 6 left. But I'm happier now than I've ever been in my life,
That's the thing. I mean, and I really get that energy from you. And you tell that story of your life as though you're telling the story of, a traffic jam on a bank holiday Monday. Kind of, and then we set off, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. And it's so difficult to come to terms with when you're hearing it as to how you ever got through it.
Well, I think, as I said to you, probably had that inner strength in me all my life. But there were times, my love, tell you, that I wanted to give up, big times. And I hit the lowest of the low, tried to commit suicide and many, many other things. But, when you're at the lowest, the only way is up, isn't it? And to sit here today with Barry and talking to you about something that I really love is helping other people, especially disabled people. And I'm honoured to be leading the Limbless Association. And, there's 75,000 amputees in the UK. What better than a quad amputee to have the empathy and give back a little bit?
Yeah, of course. Are there moments, though, and I ask this question of both of you, where you are now in terms of your state of mind and coming to terms with everything that's happened to you? Do you ever have those days when you just think it's not fair?
I think from my point of view, it's the frustration that kicks into me, because having lost my arms, my hands especially, dexterity is blown out the window. So I can't do things what I used to do. And being a practical man, I get very frustrated inside. But I think as the years go on, you learn to cope with it a little bit more. And so if you can do things, do them well. And then I ask for help if I need it. But in the early days, I was so frustrated, I just completely got sort of involved in my own self-pity in a way. So I do think time is a healer. But there's always that. And I don't think why me. I don't think there's any self-pity in me especially. I don't know how Barry feels, but I do get inside a bit upset. You know, there are times on my own I feel a bit sad, but I look at the children and look at my wife and everybody that, you know, they look up to me, so why shouldn't I?
Barry?
Yeah, it's very frustrating sometimes. When I first had it done, I always thought, well, you know, did I do the right thing and why me? Yeah, I thought that. But I know now that I made the right decision. I couldn't have lived with the pain that I was going through, and now I'm fine now. It's I'm probably getting 75, maybe 80% less pain than I was getting beforehand. My heel came away from my foot, and so I was walking bone to bone. That's the pain that I was getting. So you can imagine what the pain was like.
It must have been really hard, seeing as you had that strong sort of footballing connection as well, to lose your leg. Did that make it that much worse?
Yes, it did. I missed the football for numerous years. I'm now I've just started playing football for Chelsea amputee side, which is quite exciting. I only went along as a spectator, and they roped me into playing, and it's like I got out there, and I was a goalkeeper beforehand. I got out there, and it was just like all the old feelings came back, and somebody came through with a ball, and I thought, woohoo, and I just dived down to his feet. It was great. It was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Felt like a 20-year-old.
Yeah. I can imagine. Well, the way you bumbled into the studio earlier on, it's like a couple of teenagers. I mean, honestly, when you do say, you know, that you've got this new lease of life, it's so true.
I wouldn't say teenagers. I'd say more like a couple of idiots, really.
Well, yeah, a couple of meerkats, really, that we are.
You're pretty boisterous. I'll give you that much.